All right, so placing the speaking valve and working with the patient on getting established on their speaking valve is something that, as the speech therapist, as the SLP, we do a lot. First, you would want to deflate the cuff. And like I said before, you always want to do that with medical clearance. And I would say you always want to have a nurse there for possibly if they could go in and try to suction out anything that might be resting on top of the cuff, that would be a benefit. And also anything that falls into the airway and, like I said earlier, causes a respiratory crisis, you want that nurse there. So you get the cuff deflated. What that does is it opens up the possibility of inspiratory or expiratory airflow passing through the natural airway around the deflated cuff. And if there's a fenestration in the outer cannula as well, you might want to remove the inner cannula to further facilitate that. And you see how well the patient tolerates that situation. And if they seem to be tolerating that situation, then you want to attempt occluding the tracheostomy tube with your finger and seeing if they're able to inspire and expire, not using the tracheostomy tube. And maybe you want to start with asking the patient to take a deep breath, to take a deep inspiration, and then covering it, and then having them expire through the vocal folds, through the natural airway. Now, this is a touchy situation, and patients are really nervous about this because you are playing with their airway, their ability to take breath, all right? So it's not a relaxed situation for them. They are literally sitting there thinking, I hope this guy doesn't cut off my airway and kill me. So once you get the patient to where you have found that they can tolerate the finger occlusion for a period of time, they're good with that. Then the next step is putting the speaking valve on and seeing if they can tolerate that for how long. It's not a sudden process that you put the speaking valve on and the patient is able to suddenly tolerate it. Usually you place the speaking valve, air is rushing up on expiration through their larynx, their pharynx, the oral and nasal cavities, and this is a sensation that they've been without for some period of time. And also, sensation is suddenly going to start to increase, which means that they're going to want to cough probably. So they're going to be fighting that reflex to want to cough. So there's a lot happening when you place the speaking valve for the first time. So they have to reacclimate to that. So what this process looks like after you have deflated the cuff is that you're probably going to ask them to take a deep breath, and on expiration, start humming. And you're going to occlude the tracheostomy tube, which is going to redirect that airflow through the vocal folds and allow them to hum. And you're going to see how well they tolerate that. And then you're going to increase the finger occlusion from there up to the point where you think they can tolerate the speaking valve. Then you're going to put the speaking valve in place, and they're probably only going to be able to tolerate it for a minute or two. And then you take it off. But then you come back maybe later in the afternoon and you try again. And over a course of days, you increase their tolerance to the speaking valve. As you're trialing the speaking valve, you want to be monitoring their voice to make sure everything sounds normal and you don't hear like their natural airway becoming occluded. As you're doing this, you want to use your pulse ox, have it on the finger of the patient. You want to be monitoring their O2 sat, which is the amount of oxygen in their blood. You want to be monitoring their heartbeat. You want to be monitoring their respiratory rate. And normal O2 saturation is 95 or above. COPD patients, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease patients, are going to have a much lower O2 sat, and that's usually in the realm of 88 to 92, and that's low. You always want the O2 sat to be above 90. When Trump was diagnosed with coronavirus, one of the things they came out in the media and they said his O2 sat was at 93 at some point, at some time. And that's just a way of saying it was a little bit lower than it should have been. And obviously, as you're going through the placement of the speaking valve, you want to be observing the coloring of the patient and the breathing of the patient. If you turn around and look at them and they're purple or red and not breathing, that's a problem.
Okay, I'm just going to give you a cough. The most important thing is to make sure that this cuff is down. It feels deflated, but we always check by taking any leftover air, any residual air out of the cuff. Then we're going to have a little listen to make sure that there's air moving past the tube. So Tammy, I want you to blow for me, and can you count to 3? Can you say the same again, Tammy?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay, hello.
Hello. Got a voice.
Who's this, buddy? Huh? What's this? What's this, bud?
Gotta breathe.
Oh,
Take it off. Yeah.
Good job, Oliver.
good job, buddy.
Yeah. So good.
Please, can you smile? Yeah. Does it get so?
Oh. That happens.
Hey, buddy.
Please, there.
Boop, boop, boop.
Hey. Hey.
It's okay. Take your breath.
Oh. Hey.
He's doing really well.
Good job. Yeah.
All right, yeah.
Oh. Hey. Okay.
Good job. It's so good job.
Oh. Yeah. There you
You're
are.
doing good.
Yeah.
How long has
Really
it been? Have you been timing how long you've been able to tolerate it?
We started at around the 17.
He's doing really well. This little thing helps. I heard one little cry.
Yeah.
That was cool.
Good job, buddy.
Smile.
He's like, everybody gets so quiet though.
Yeah.
He's like, what?
That's concerning.
Yes.
He's like, that's weird. Mommy's always talking, isn't it?
Right. And all of a sudden,
Good job, baby.
Well, you can fill in now. See, that's what happened.
Hi, good job.
See, and then what? And then what?
You want to try again?
Sure. You can try.
Hi.
Hey, buddy.
Hi.
Hi, buddy.
Hey.
Hey, buddy.
Okay.
Hey. It's okay.
Yeah.
So placing the speaking valves in children and babies is super important because otherwise they're not going to develop their normal speech.